Hi, I'm Mark Leader, and I want to welcome you to the webinar titled The Future of Real Estate Has Arrived. In the time that we've got to spend together today, gang, let me share with you what my objectives are. I actually have 3 objectives of this presentation. The first one is I want us to have some fun. The second thing I'd like to do today is I'd like to challenge you. And I want to challenge you to go out and make this your best year ever in the real estate business. My third objective is I'd like to join forces with you to help that occur. And I guess what the heck, let's throw in a fourth objective. And the fourth objective would be that if you never hear the words Mark Leader again, or you never hear the words Leaders Elite again, I want to share with you some stuff today that's going to help you make more money, and I want you to do it in less time, and I want you to have more fun doing it. So gang, let's do this. Why don't you pick up a pen and piece of paper and let's turn this into a real estate seminar. Now, in all the years I've been in the real estate business, and I've been in the business a long time, success and failure generally comes down to a couple of things. In fact, there's 5 most common challenges realtors face every day when they come into the real estate business. The first one is they have really high expectations. When salespeople are being recruited into the industry, their broker, the office manager, they tell them all the great things about being a realtor. They tell them you get to make your own hours and you're going to make all this money and you'll be able to go on holidays and you're your own boss, come and go as you please. And truthfully, what happens is the salespeople get really high expectations about what their career and their income is going to be all about. But what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to keep your expectations low as we go through this, but your dreams high. This way here, you'll never be disappointed with anything that happens in your career. The second most common challenge realtors face today is poor time management. In other words, they are focused on doing the low income producing activities first instead of focusing on your high income producing activities first. The third most common challenge salespeople face today is they undervalue training. The fourth most common mistake salespeople are making today is they're not embracing technology, gang. They're still doing things that they did yesterday in order to be successful. And the truth of the matter is 90% of the trainers out in the real estate business haven't sold real estate. And if they did it 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, and they're still out there teaching you stuff like drop-bys. Then there's the other ones that are still teaching cold calling. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you have the tenacity to do cold calls, and you sit down at your desk and you scrub a list, you will make a 6-figure income hitting the phone. How do I know that? Well, the law of averages tells us that. The law of averages says the more people that you can touch and have a conversation with about a certain topic, then the higher chances are you're going to find somebody who wants to list and sell their house. You see, the truth of the matter is, gang, there is no really bad form of prospecting. There really is no bad form of lead generation. But with today's technology, you don't have to do all of that stuff. In fact, one of the things you've got to learn to do is you've got to learn to let go of the past and embrace the future. And I know it was a difficult thing for me because when I decided to go back and sharpen my axe and go back into the real estate business, for 23 years, I was out on the speaking circuit. I trained for everybody. I spoke at the National Association of Realtors, I don't know how many times. I spoke for the Canadian Real Estate Association, spoke for most of the provinces and a lot of the states. But along with that, I also did the keynote presentation for White-Haired Realtors, for the Women's Council of Realtors presidential inauguration. And the truth is, gang, it was hard for me to let go of the past. It was hard for me to let go because I knew the stuff that I was teaching at the time worked. But what I didn't realize is with today's technology, it could be so much easier. And that's what technology will do for you today. So you got to let go and let tech take over. And you're going to make more money, you're going to do it in less time, and you're going to have more fun doing it. And the fifth most common challenge salespeople make in this business is they have no inventory. This is an inventory business. The person with the most listings will make the most amount of money. The company with the most listings will have the highest market share. If those are the 5 most common challenges salespeople face today, then the question is how do we overcome those challenges? Well, when we talk about overcoming those challenges, there's going to be 6 different topics I'm going to talk to you about today. But nothing is going to be more important than the first one, and that is I need you to be focused, and I need you to understand 5 things. The first one is that you have to buy into that listings are the way to the top. Always have been, always will be. That is never going to change. There's an old expression in the real estate business that goes like this, that 80% of all the properties sold are sold by 20% of the salespeople. Now my question to you is, this 20% then shares in 80% of the profits. So my question to you is, what do they know that you don't know? And the truth of the matter is, gang, is this, is that if you want to be part of this 20% that shares in 80% of the money that's generated in the real estate business, then you have to take the first point, that listings are the way to the top, and you got to understand that we are not in the business of selling real estate. We are in the business of listing real estate first. The second point under focus is this, is you've got to buy into, if it is to be, it is up to me. You know, many people come into the real estate business, and when they're recruited into the business, their broker or the manager they're going to work for tells them, oh, the company provides this and the company does that and we'll do this and we'll do that. And I'm not saying they don't. But when it's said and done, you truly got to understand that the real estate industry is like the last true Sebastian of free enterprise. But when it's said and done, success and failure comes down to you. Comes down to you. You know, Zig Ziglar used to say this, when you point one finger, remember 3 fingers are pointing back at you. The third item under focus is this, is you've got to say to yourself, I'm in control of my career. No more free CMAs. No more driving people around, showing them houses. That you are in control. Number 4, no one is going to take advantage of me anymore. And the 5th thing that you've got to be focused on, gang, is that when you book that listing appointment and you walk in on the listing appointment, you got to walk in with the attitude that I will take that listing if I choose to take it. But the best of the best go in with the attitude that I'm going in to see if I want this one. And if I want it, I'm going to take it. Now you take that focus, and then from there, we're going to then create purpose in our career. So when we're talking about creating purpose, there's going to be 3 things I want to talk to you about. The first one is that in order to create purpose in your career, you got to understand that we got to set goals for ourselves. And when I talk about setting goals, I'm not talking about how much business you're going to do in the next 12 months. That's not what I'm talking about. You see, if you set yourself a goal for 12 months, that's really more like a life business management plan. And there's 5 components that make up a goal. In fact, if you always remember this acronym that I came up for goals, then you'll have all the components you need to make your goals accurate. And the acronym goes like this. SMART. You have to set up what we call SMART goals. You see the S here, that stands for specific. Your goal you set for yourself must be laser beam specific. You know, the one thing I learned teaching my old Leader's Choice program, and I put 30,000 or more students through that class, and we average better than 1.5 transactions per person per week, unheard of in the real estate business. But I used to say to the salespeople this: what would you like to accomplish in the next 8 weeks? And they'd say to me, oh, Mark, well, in 8 weeks, I'd like to get 5, maybe 6 listings. It'd be really cool if I got 7. And I'd look at them and say, you're going to be lucky to get 3. And they'd say to me, what are you talking about? I say, well, your goal, it's not specific, man. It's not specific. You know, I've always said one of the greatest movies that realtors should watch about goals and goal setting was the original Rocky 1. See, he knew exactly what he wanted to accomplish. Now, I'm not suggesting you go out and beat people up to set goals, but what I am going to suggest to you is this, is your goal you set for yourself should be no longer than 8 weeks. It's been scientifically proven that human beings have a hard time staying focused on a goal anything longer than 8 weeks. The M then stands for measurable. The only thing you can measure your success in the real estate business is how many listings you bring in. You take your annual goal, you break it down to quarterly, then your quarterly down to monthly, then your monthly down to weekly. You have to have it being measurable. And ultimately, your goal in the real estate business should bring in 1 saleable listing a week. The A then stands for achievable. Your goal should be achievable that you set for yourself. In other words, if you haven't listed a house in 15 years, then don't think by taking this webinar with me that you're going to list 15 houses in the next 15 days, because it's probably unbelievable. The R then stands for reward. You have to reward yourself with something when you achieve that goal. Now, don't make your reward so expensive that you choose not to do it, but make your reward something that you look forward to doing. For example, maybe you and your significant other have been really pounding the pavement hard lately, so you'd like to get away for a weekend, maybe recharge the batteries a little bit. And then finally, gang, the T stands for track. You have to track your success on a regular basis in order to achieve your goal. Now, if that's the components of a SMART goal, then what's the second point under creating purpose? Well, the second point is you've got to make a commitment. And if you looked in the dictionary under commitment, it's going to say 3 things. The first thing it's going to say is to pledge. It's going to say to entrust. And then it's going to say perform. Now, in the real estate business, what are we going to pledge to? Well, you're going to pledge to achieving that goal you set for yourself. You're going to pledge to achieve that goal. And you're going to pledge to achieve it over and over and over again. Well, for you, you've got to remind yourself every day about what that goal is that you want to set for yourself. The second thing in the dictionary under commitment, it says to entrust. You need to entrust that if you do certain daily activities, you have to leave the end result then up to a higher power, whatever that higher power might be to you. You know, one of the things that I've learned over the last 3 or 4 years about tech is that, Mark, I had to let go and let tech take over a little bit. You see, because all the years that I sold real estate and all the years I was a national speaker, I still had to either hit the phones, I had to do my direct mailers, I had to go to my conferences and shake hands and do all of those things. And you see, those things made me successful, but at the same time, they made me tired. They made me tired. But I knew it worked. I knew it worked. So for me to just let go and entrust, that was very hard. There are certain daily activities that you have to do every day. And if you do those activities every day, you will become successful. You can't not become successful. And one of the challenges with me is I had to let go of the old school of doing things and let tech take over. And it was difficult for me, but I did, and the results were awesome. So we got to pledge, we got to trust, and then you will naturally perform. And when we're talking about naturally performing, gang, what we're really talking about is earning a six-figure income in less time and having more fun doing it, no matter what's happened out in the marketplace. You see, about 2 years ago, when I stepped back into the real estate business 2.5 years ago, for the first 3 or 4 months, our market was rocking and rolling. In fact, I thought this was 1989 all over again. I mean, signs were going up, and as fast as they were going up, there were sold signs, and the salespeople that obviously were making more money now than they ever are going to make in their life, they had these great big egos, and they started to say that we're not going to look at any offers for 2 weeks, and multiple offers this, and then all of a sudden, the government decides that there's enough of that. And the Ontario government adds a special tax in that hurts foreign buyers. They start putting new regulation in the banking industry, stress tests. And from when they did that in April to December of that year, we had a 23% price drop in my marketplace. And you know that $1.4 million I keep talking about in gross closed commissions? Well, those 19 months, there was 3 of them that I was selling in a hot market. The other 16 months was a declining market, a slowing market. And this formula that I put together, man, with this technology, it still kept pumping out the leads, one after another, one after another. You see, the thing is, it doesn't matter what's happening in the real estate market. It doesn't matter what governments want to do to manipulate the markets. A good realtor can make money in good markets or bad. It's all a choice. But a good realtor also understands, and this is my third point under creating purpose, that there's a formula for success in the real estate business. And if you follow this formula, you can't not be successful. I don't think that's good grammar, but I'm going to say it again. You can't not be successful. And the truth of the matter is, gang, the formula for success is almost so simple, but yet it's the true foundation of all of the success that I have ever enjoyed in this great business called real estate. And the formula for success has 4 points to it. The first thing is you got to understand that your number one priority each week is to bring in 1 listing a week, 1 saleable listing a week. That is job 1. Doesn't matter whether it takes you 10 hours, 20 hours, 30 hours to do it. Before you do anything else, you have to bring in 1 listing first. But let me show you something. We bring in a listing a week and we just take 4 weeks off in the year. That means you're going to bring in 48 listings. Now, what I'm going to say to you is this, is that what Mark's going to show you, if I said you all 48 would sell, I'd have a credibility problem. So let's just assume that out of those 48, only 24 sell. And out of those 24 listings that sold, that means that there's going to be 24 families that need another place to live. But let's just assume that only 1 out of 2 of them buy from you. So that means we've got to add 12 more deals. So that means if you bring in a listing a week, that's going to give you 36 transactions a year, or in some places of the world they call them closings. Now let's just assume for a second that your average dollar earned on a commission is a $400,000 sale price. And let's just assume that your marketplace is 6%. Now I know there's some places that I've trained that's 7, and I know there's some marketplaces that are down to 5% and 4%, but I'm going to teach you how to protect your commissions. Don't worry about that. Stick with me. I'm going somewhere with this. So we take $600,000 at 6%. That means the gross commission's $36,000. Half of that would come to the listing side. So does somebody have a calculator just very quickly? And I'm sorry, that math is wrong. On a $400,000 listing at 6% would be $24,000. Half of it going to the listing side, which would be 12. Now we take 12,000 and we times that by 36. That's 360, about $430,000, give or take. Think about that, gang. And let's just assume for a second that everything Mark Leader says to you, that I'm full of crap. And only half of what I'm telling you is true. And we just take that 430 and we cut it down again to $215,000 a year. Now you think about that for a second, okay? The average family in North America is earning about 70 or 80 grand a year combined, with the man telling them when to show up to work, when to leave, how much their holidays are. Heck, the man will even dictate what their retirement is going to be on their pensions. And you're in the real estate business, and all you got to do is bring in one listing a week, and we take that and we half it, and we half it again, and we half it again, and you're still going to make yourself a couple $100 grand a year. Why couldn't you get excited about that? When that was shown to me originally, I thought, wow, I'm in. So the first part of the formula is we got to bring in a listing each week. Part two, we got to separate the looker from the buyer. There's three components that make up a buyer. The first one is they got to have money. They got to have money. The second is they got to have motivation, and they got to have urgency. The third thing is you must get your agency agreement signed. If the buyers aren't prepared to sign by your agency, gang, then we won't work with them. And then finally, the fourth part of the formula for success is you show and sell your listings and your company listings first. Why? You want easier setup for showings? Sell in-house. You want easier negotiations? Sell in-house. You want to have easier closings if there's a problem? Sell in-house. So the formula for success must be part of your everyday real estate life. Now, when it's said and done, what I've said to you up to this point is we got to work on getting a listing each week. That is the true foundation of success in the real estate business. So the question then comes to beg is, how are we going to do that? The truth of the matter is there's about 14 different ways to do it. Some people might call some of them high touch, others might call some of them high tech. Like for example, you could go around looking for referrals. And I'm not suggesting that referrals is not a good thing, but what I will tell you is that if you expect that people are going to refer business to you and you're going to earn $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, then I'm going to tell you you're going to have to wake up. The second thing is you could do billboards or you could buy bus benches. You could put your name on the Zambonis at the arenas or out in the football fields. And all of that stuff is good, but I'm telling you, when it's said and done, it's not going to make the phone ring. The third area is you could work your sphere of influence. In fact, you should be in touch with all of your past customers and anybody in your sphere at least 4 times a year. The fourth area is you could do drop-bys, or you could go out and do door knocking. And I really just have 2 points of this with drop-bys. You know, one of the people that have kept me grounded over the years has been my wife, Denise. You know, I make some fun, but together, truthfully, we've been together 34 years. Door knocking, nothing wrong with that, but door knocking is really no different than cold calling. Oh, yes, it is, Mark. We're meeting the people face to face. Oh, okay. So you either knock on a stranger's door or you call a stranger. Either way, it's still meeting somebody for the first time, and I'm not saying it's bad. But what I'm telling you, gang, is this. It's not that any of this stuff is bad, it's how much money are you going to make in the least amount of time. The fifth area is you could work expireds or FSBOs. Now in Canada, it's against the Real Estate and Business Brokers Act in Canada to call expireds. But in everywhere else in North America, to the best of my knowledge, you can call expireds and go door knock expireds or FSBOs. At least they had a sign up and they said they wanted to sell. Or at least the FSBO says, I want to sell. He's got to sign up, come see my house. At least that's better than door knocking a strange neighborhood. The sixth area could be community involvement. And you should pick at least one charity to be involved with. And the seventh way could be those old cold calls. And the truth of the matter is, gang, if you sat down at your desk and you made enough calls today, you will find somebody who wants to sell their house. And now I'm not suggesting you do all of these, but I'm just saying there are 14 different ways. So if those are the high touch, now let's move into more of today's way of doing business. Let's talk high tech. And when we talk about high tech, there's really 5 areas here, gang. The first one is you need to have a personal website built for you. Now, don't think the website's going to make you any money, because the days of websites making you money, those days are over. But what they do is this, is that when you do book an appointment with someone who doesn't know you or hasn't met you before you finish booking that appointment with them, you can tell them, by the way, here is my personal website. Why don't you go take a look at it? And I have a little video up there about my experience in the real estate business. This way here, when I come over to your house tomorrow evening, you'll feel comfortable that it's actually me. The second thing we could do is we could put together an automated drip campaign where every month, every week, every second week, whatever you choose, we're going to email them out something. In the olden days, we used to call those newsletters, and we'd have to lick and put them in something called the mailbox. Today, automation will do that for you. The third area might be that you want to build your business based on social networking. Maybe you want to build your business based on your Facebook post or your Instagram post or your LinkedIn post. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I can tell you, a lot of people have tried it. And the truth of the matter is, you spend a lot of hours writing that social media stuff, and yeah, you'll get some likes, but is it going to generate the money that you need to make to feed, house, and clothe your family? I'll leave it up to you, but I haven't bought into that one yet. The fourth one is we could create an automated target marketing campaign and have just stuff going out to certain neighborhoods over and over again. But the fifth and sixth are the two that's absolutely changing the industry. One that's destroying agents, and one that's making agents really, really successful. The one that's destroying agents, and you're going to be surprised at this, is the salespeople that decide that they want to buy leads. You see, there's companies out there that have created the systems to mine the internet, and they come up with leads. And then they sell those leads to the realtor public. And so what happens is this, gang, they mine those leads, maybe cost them $1 or $2 for each lead they come up with. And then they sell those leads to agents in that marketplace for $6, $8, $10, $12, whatever it may be. But they sell it to 4 or 5 different agents, and you all got to compete. You want to talk about the quickest way to make salespeople feel disenchanted about the industry, that they're spending a bunch of money and they're not making any money? Then try buying leads. That will burn them out immediately. But the sixth area, this is the one that's revolutionizing how the industry's done. And that is the salespeople that have learned to generate leads online. Now, what this does is this, is first of all, it takes you out of the competition, meaning that you're not trying to compete against 5 or 6 other agents when you buy leads. The second thing it does is that it puts you in control of what your business is going to be all about. You see, gang, I believe this beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the internet and learning to generate your own leads, this is a game changer. This is a game changer. You know, one of the things I always said to the companies that hired me was that if you're looking for a great speaker, then I'm probably not the one. Because the truth is, I remember when I worked with Floyd Wickman many years ago, when Floyd was the #1 speaker in North America. And he said to me, "Leader, I don't know how you do it." He says, "You speak in 8 and gots, you put your hand in your pockets, you turn your back to the audience." He says, "You ain't never going to make a speaker." And I said to him, "You know what, Floyd? I'm going to be one of the best speakers in the real estate industry." He said to me, "What makes you say that?" I said, "Because I ain't a speaker because I couldn't do it. I earned the right to be up here because I did do it." Think about this, by the age of 26, Century 21 puts me into the Worldwide Hall of Fame. From there I go on 2,300 speaking engagements. Heck, I even had the Women's Council of Realtors, which is an American organization for women, hire Mark Leader, who's a Canadian, who's a man. Think about that. And I remember when Audrey Lackey said to me, and she called me and she told me about she made the presidency. And I said, Audrey, that's so fantastic. I said, think of it, you can have any speaker you want. They've had General Schwarzkopf and ex-presidents and everything. I said, who are you going to bring in? She says, well, the reason I was calling, Mark, is I wanted to ask if you would come in. I says, Audrey, me? I said, I'm Canadian. It's an American organization. I said, I'm a man. The organization's the Women's Council of Realtors. Something don't fit right here. And she says, no, Mark, one of the criteria for the president is that it has to be someone who they believe has helped more realtors, including themselves, than anyone else to be successful. The committee chose you, if you'd be willing to do it. And I said 100%, and it was one of the most proudest moments of my life, that my wife would allow me to go down to Florida and be in a hotel with 1,200 females, okay, for 2 days. And I got to do the keynote. You want to talk about trust and love? Yeah. But it was awesome. And I'm proud of Audrey for what she did. And I'm proud of everything the Women's Council of Realtors do for the organized real estate around the world. So we're going to talk about generating online leads now. So I want to talk to you about the 5 truths to online lead generation. And if you remember these 5 truths, you're going to have everything you need to start putting together an online lead generating system. The first one is that online leads generate a consistent flow of quality leads. Very, very important. You'll be prospecting 24/7. The third truth is the leads generated, they've now given you permission to contact them, which means that under the do not call laws in Canada and the United States, and under the spam laws in Canada and the United States, these folks have now given you permission to contact them for professional services. And that's my 4th point. You're building a book of business even when you're out of town or on an appointment. Think about that for a minute, gang. Think about that for a minute. If I said to you, in the world of do not call, do not spam, do not mail, do not call expireds, need permission to call FSBOs, if I said to you that within a year or 2, you're going to have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people in your book of business that has legally given you permission to call them and they were interested in real estate in your community, tell me that alone isn't worth thousands of dollars. And the 5th point is, in order for you to get an immediate return from online lead generation, you have to grab a hold of that there's a certain skill set that you must master. There's certain dialogues, there's certain techniques, there's certain process. And when you learn this dialogue, this technique, and the process, and at the same time you apply a lead generation system, you're going to get your conversion rates up to 6, 8%. Heck, I had some of my months up to as high as 10, 12, 14, 16% conversion rate on my online leads. Now, I don't expect that the average person in the real estate business will get that high, but remember, for 35 years, I've been eating, sleeping, and drinking this thing called real estate. So if you're going to grab a hold then of the internet, and you're going to let tech, and you're going to let the past go and let tech take control, there's going to be 3 pillars of online lead generation. The first pillar is that you have to employ someone with a computer science degree. But what does the fellow with the computer science degree do? Well, he really brings 2 unique talents. Oh, a lot more, but there's 2 unique talents. The first one is a computer science graduate. They understand how to create the systems in order to make sure that your online lead generation is on autopilot. And they're really good at creating back-end systems so that it creates your nurturing and it creates your emails that go out to the past customers and all of those types of things. The second pillar is you need to have someone who's got a degree in human analytic behavior patterns. And what's really cool about this degree is the human being has been studied to the point that probably 99% of the time, they know what you're thinking before you're even going to think it. They know how you're going to move, they know where you're going to park, they know how you're going to drive, they know what ads you're going to click on that line and what ads you're not going to click online. They know that the average age you're probably going to get married, and when you do get engaged, they know already the different process that the man or woman's going to go through. It's all been digested. And now these people take all of this information and the human analytic behavior patterns, and they create targeting for the ads. And because of that targeting, and your ad is going in front of the right person, that creates higher conversion rates. And the third thing is you need to have an online marketing degree. Now the online marketing degree, what this is going to do for you is it's going to make sure that your ads are designed properly. So that when they're designed properly and then they're placed in the right spot and they stick within your budget, that's where you get a return on investment. That's where you start getting the leads coming into you, people that are serious about buying and selling real estate. So the question is, how do we put all this together with everything that we got going on in our lives? You're saying to me, Mark, I got to find someone who's got a computer science degree. I got to find someone who's got a human analytic degree. I got to find someone who's got a marketing degree. Or you could do what I did. And when I'm telling you this story, I'm going to tell you how I had to buy into tech and how it came to be. My first month back in the real estate business, the brokerage I joined, it's not that I have a love affair with almost every brokerage and every brand in North America because I've done work for all of them. It just so happens that the company that I joined here, I knew the family for about 30 years. But I do know in the first month back in the business, I did start calling people and say, you know, what are you doing for online ads? And I got the same thing over and over again. And then one day I get this phone call from this man in Montreal. And his name is Stuart Hall. And Stuart gets talking to me, and after a few minutes I said, well, Mr. Hall, can I ask you, how can I help you? Why are you calling me? He said, Mark, he said, everywhere we Googled about real estate and about speakers and trainers and what they called influencers. I don't consider myself an influencer, but maybe that's a younger person's word. I'm an influencer. He said, your name came up. Maybe not number one, but definitely in the top 5. So he said, we've got this really great product, this really cool product, and we wanted to know if you'd be interested in endorsing us. And I said, well, what's the product? He says, oh, we've created this lead generation system. And I had already done a bunch of homework, and everybody I talked to said on online leads they were getting 0.5% conversion rate. So I said, I'm probably not the right person to endorse it because I'm not going to be doing any seminars and there's no place to sell your product and all that stuff. He says, well, he says, Mr. Leader, what if I said this to you? And I said, what's that, Stuart? He says, what if I said that I'm going to help you relaunch your real estate career, and if I can do that, you'll endorse us? And I said, well, you know, Stuart, I appreciate that, but I think I'm okay. But I appreciate that. And I said, but I'm just curious, you know, what kind of conversion rates are you getting with this platform? He says, we're getting 6 to 8% conversion rates. Well, now he had my attention. How are you getting 6 to 8%? And he went on to tell me a story that him and 2 other fellas from Concordia University that all had master's degrees. Had a master's degree in computer sciences, a master's degree in human analytic behavior patterns, and a master's degree in online marketing. That they came up with this idea that they would create this platform and sell it to the insurance and auto industry to help those salespeople make more money. But they quickly learned that in the insurance and auto industry, even though they were getting great results, a lot of the decisions are made from the top down. So they turned their attention to the real estate industry. And they already had about 100 people using the platform across Canada. And he said, with those 100 people using it, we're averaging 6 to 8% conversion rate. Well, the truth of the matter is, gang, I didn't believe him. But he was so persistent. He said, Mark, I'll tell you what, I won't even charge you. I won't even charge you. Just use my system, and if it does what I say it will do, then we can talk. I said, fair enough. Well, at the 3rd month of using the system, remember this is the 3rd month in a city that I've never sold real estate in before, and no one knew me as a realtor. Okay? I come home one night and I said to my wife, Denise, I said, sweetie, you'd never get it, or never believe it. And she said, what? I said, look, I said, this is my 6th listing that I brought in this month, and it's not even the end of the 3rd week. I said, these guys are on to something that I personally believe is going to revolutionize the real estate industry. So I ended up spending more time with Stuart, and one thing led to another, and we kept working on making the back end a little simpler, a little better. We started working on the algorithms, and I really took it seriously, and I took him constantly every month. We were working, and the leads come in. I was going out on the appointments. We were refining the leads. We're refining where the ads were going. You see, they had all of the university education, but what they didn't have was 30 years of real estate experience from being on the street. So we took those two components together, and we created something that I know is revolutionizing how salespeople make and earn money, because I am one of them. I'm just not a lead generation spokesman. I believed in it so much that I joined forces with Stuart for the rights for all of North America. And Stuart and I created this platform that's called Leaders Elite. The Leaders Elite platform is a state-of-the-art, I mean state-of-the-art, lead generation and relationship building platform. There's nothing like it in the world. But the one thing we recognize is this, gang, is we can generate the qualified leads for you. We can get you 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 200, 300 leads. And it doesn't matter whether it's in Miami to California, Ontario to British Columbia, down the East Coast. We have people now using it all over North America with consistent results. We're getting a 6 to 8% conversion rate. But we can generate all the qualified leads for you that you can possibly handle, but you need to have the skill to close them. And that's where the Leaders Elite 9-session training program is going to come along for you. You see, we're not only going to generate the leads for you, but I'm going to teach you the skills so that you can convert the leads. The truth of the matter is, when you take these two components together, you take the Leaders Elite lead generation and relationship building platform, and you take my 30, 35 years of sales experience, and I'm going to teach you all of the dialogue technique and process, so that when you walk in on that appointment, you walk into the house, you know exactly what to say, how to say it, when to say it. You've got the closing dialect down. You've got the objection handling dialogue down. Now we're creating a combination truly of high tech and high touch. So how does the system work? Well, the platform was designed to use a combination of 4 specific skill sets. The first one is computer sciences. That's all your back end. The second is human analytic behavior patterns. That's making sure that your ads are going in front of the right people at the right time who are most likely to click on them and be your highest conversion rate. We've got our online marketing. That's for lead conversion, plus 30 years of experience. That's going to teach you how to be extremely successful in the real estate business. So the question then is, what will the Leaders Elite platform and the Leaders Elite training program do for me? Well, the answer is this. We're going to generate more high-quality leads than most agents can handle in a month, and we're going to give you all of the sales skills necessary to close on them. What's included in the Leaders Elite platform? Well, that answer is this. First of all, we've got ad experts that are university graduates to know exactly what needs to be created for all of your real estate ads campaigns. Number two, the system will immediately engage your leads through email, SMS, and voicemail drops. The third thing the system will do for you is it's going to give you a custom pipeline. So your ads and the approach are unique and customer friendly. Number four is an easy to use CRM to allow constant follow-up. You see, let me show you something for a minute. Here's how you can expect the online leads are going to flow. Let's assume for a minute that the system generates you 80 leads this month. Now, out of those 80 leads, 40 of them are going to respond when we send them a text message or an email or do a voicemail drop on your behalf. You don't have to do that. The system does all of that for you. 40 of them are going to respond that they're not interested right now. Those 40 go into a long-term nurturing database. Remember, they've given us permission to market to them. So we have created all of the marketing for you. You don't have to market till the leads come in. We've got all the nurturing systems in place so that we can convert some of those leads in the future to do business with you. So that's going to leave us with 40. Now, out of those 40, approximately 25 are going to say they're not interested till spring, summer, winter, or fall. Now in there, I'm going to teach you a technique in the Leaders Elite training program called the cost associated with waiting. And I developed this technique many, many years ago, and it's probably taught by every trainer out there in North America now. But the cost associated with waiting, you will then demonstrate to them by waiting till spring, summer, or winter, or fall is going to cost them thousands of dollars. But let's just assume that those 25 don't bite right now. So that's going to leave me with 15, what I like to call hot ones, that are ready, willing, and able to do business with you today. Now, let's assume that out of those 15 hot ones, you have a 2 and 3 conversion rate. That means potentially you should get 10 listing appointments a month. And let's assume that on these listing appointments you have a 1 in 3 or a 1 in 2 close ratio. That's going to give you somewhere to 4 to 5 saleable listings a month. Think about that for a minute, gang, and you never had to make a cold call to do it. The system's going to also give you all of your automatic nurturing. We look after all the follow-up for you. The sixth thing it's going to do is we're going to do email, SMS automation to build and maintain the relationships for the ones that aren't ready to go ahead today. The seventh thing is the platform's going to give you voicemail drops, personal touch from you without you ever doing the work. Yes, that's right. We're actually going to call the people for you. We hired a professional actor and actress to be the voiceover to do that. The platform will integrate with over 1,000 apps. So we're friendly with all of the current applications you use. It also is going to include email and live support to help coach you into the income you desire. And I'm going to supply you with all of my proven scripts and dialogues, and they're all customer friendly. The 10th thing is we're going to give you email and SMS templates. So we've done all the marketing for you. The 11th thing is we're going to do marketing blasts. We've done the creation and implementation, so you don't have to, gang. All you got to do is press a button. We're going to give you unlimited IDX websites to create a high volume of conversions at no cost. The 13th thing is we're going to give you unlimited landing pages. No extra charge again. We've got advertising tutorials there, so you have a complete understanding of how you will generate online leads. 15th thing is we've got phone support. We are always just a phone call away. Number 16, we're going to supply you with expert advertising tutorials built in to help you generate real estate leads. Plus, we have a text concierge. We're at your service. We're also going to supply you, I'm going to do these personally, or one of the people on my team, is a monthly coaching calls and an open mic Q&A so that I can answer all the questions or help you address any challenges you might be faced with in today's real estate market. And last but not least, because there's a lot more, I could go on for hours about this, we're going to supply you with the Leaders Elite 9-week training program developed by me to have you excel to levels you never thought possible. In fact, I already have companies calling me wanting to see if I'll come in and train it in-house for them, because they know that the average agent that takes my training program does better than 1 to 1.5 transactions per person per week. So what's all included then in the 9-week Leaders Elite training program? Well, the first 5 things are this. First of all, we're going to get you focused. We're going to have you set SMART goals. We're going to have you make a commitment. Then we're going to do a deep dive into lead generation. We're going to talk about the 14 that are out there, but we're going to talk more specifically about the 7 that are going to make you the most amount of money in the least amount of time. And then we're going to go into a really deep dive into online lead generation. How to do it, what you need to do, and you can decide to do it yourself, or you're welcome to use the Leaders Elite platform to do it. So I know what some of you are saying to yourself, well, Mark, how much does the Leaders Elite platform cost? And the answer is, if you use it or you don't. If you don't use it, it could cost you thousands. But if you want, at this point, there should be a little bubble there that pops up that says, click on the link on the right to join the Leaders Elite platform and training special. And the retail value, gang, that we're going to market this on the website at is $3,000. But for the people that click the link today, and today only, for the next 10 minutes, I'm going to offer it to you for $19.99. This is the same technology I used to close over $1 million in commission in just 19 months. This is as close as you will ever come to never having to make a prospecting call, or those uncomfortable drop-bys, or spending your weekends doing open houses, or out door knocking, or doing cold calls. This is as close as you're ever going to come in sales, that your business is going to be driven to you, and all you got to do is look after your customers. So what's included? Well, you're going to get the Leaders Elite lead generation and relationship building platform 12-month access. You're going to get your easy-to-use CRM. You're going to get your custom pipelines. You're going to get your automatic nurturing. You're going to get your email and SMS automation. You're going to get your voicemail drops. You're going to get over 1,000 apps that can integrate. You're going to get email and live support, IDX websites, unlimited landing pages, advertising tutorials. Plus, you're going to get the Leaders Elite training program, and you're going to get 12 months access to that too. I'm going to teach you how to control the buyer. I'm going to teach you how to control the offer presentation, and it's all included for the people on this webinar today. So click on the link to the right. Join the Leaders Elite platform and training special. Think about this for a second, gang. $19.99. If you, over the next 12 months, just sold one house because of this, and your average sale price was $500,000 in your market, and you've got a 6% commission, that would be $30,000. And if you only took half of it because you're the listing or buyer side, that's $15,000. Think about this, gang. the Leaders Elite lead generation platform, and 9 weeks of training, plus my 12 months of coaching for less than 1/10 of one transaction based on a $500,000 sales price. And I want you to remember something. This is the technology I use to close over $1 million in commissions in just 19 months. This is as close as you will ever come to never having to make a prospecting call again, do a door knocking again, do those uncomfortable drop-bys, make cold calls, spend a gazillion dollars on bus benches and billboards. No, no, no. This is as close as having an opportunity that people will be coming to you without you spending tens of thousands of dollars a year. Now, some of you may still be on the fence. So let me finish up with a poem that I learned a few years ago. You got to believe that you are worth the investment. You got to believe your family is worth the investment. You got to believe in yourself, and you got to believe in the future holds for you as bright. Zig Ziglar's father summed it up this way: the bride, white of hair, is stooped over her cane, uncertain her knees are guiding, while down the opposite church aisle, with a wan, toothless smile, bridegroom in wheelchair comes riding. Now, who is this elderly couple thus wed? Well, we'll see when we closely explore it, that here is that rare, most conservative pair who waited until they could afford it. Gang, you're worth it. Invest in yourself, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.